So I want to get into one of the amendments offered by Republicans. This was an amendment from Representative Josh Penner, Republican from Ording. And this was an idea to ensure that children facing abuse, neglect, harm, exposure to fatal doses of drugs in the homes of dangerous home environments with their drug addicted parents. The amendment was offered because Republicans have been unable in this session to advance bills to address the alarming increase in children under state supervision who are dying or suffering near fatal incidents in homes with, as I mentioned, drug addicted caregivers. This is the Keeping Families Together Act. And this was passed in 2021 here in Olympia, and in 2023 took effect. And basically, it's intended to reduce foster care placements and intended to say, okay, you parents might have trouble. You might have been abusing, neglecting your children. You might even have a drug problem. But instead of taking your children out of the home, we're going to get you those services. We're going to get you treatment while your child is still in the home. And it has resulted in the highest number of children dying in those homes or suffering near fatal incidents. So many Republicans stood on that House floor Saturday, cheerfully reading from child fatality reports, sharing their own experiences, while urging the majority to adopt this amendment because it would have added some additional money for DCYF and some of these caseworkers who are overwhelmed in trying to protect these children. Representative Michelle Valdez, formerly Caldier until she got married, from Gig Harbor, she was wiping tears as she shared her own tortured childhood story involving the foster care system. She told members the system sometimes that is supposed to protect children is often getting it wrong. And here's some of what she shared on the House floor.
You know, I was in foster care. And I will tell you that that is one of the areas that I may not be able to hold my composure. When I was 10, that's when my stepfather came into my life. And in 5th grade, I got my first black eye from him. And you know what the state did? They had him sign a piece of paper that he wouldn't hit me again. And they provided services to us. We got a lot of counseling. So we had a lady would come out. She'd counsel us. And I'd say, he's still hitting me. Till I get another black eye. And the kids at school will make fun of me and say, Michelle, you keep getting into fights. And yet, we got more services. Madam Speaker, can I read?
Please proceed.
I will tell you that there are some people and some families where the services don't help. There are some families where the services do help. I also do want to point out that DCYF never testified in the House or the Senate when this bill was coming through. If this bill had the impact that it has, and you can look at numbers, and statistically, the deaths that we have are absolutely tied to that bill.
There were others who spoke and were very emotional. Representative Stephanie Barnard, Representative Cindy Jacobson, and others, again, reading from those child fatality reports and begging the majority to, please adopt this amendment and amend the imminent harm standard in the Keeping Families Together Act. The last to speak in support of the Penner Amendment was Representative Travis Couture of Allen, who, in a raised and sometimes quivering voice, begged majority Democrats to fix the broken system.
These kids, Madam Speaker, don't have any more time left to give. As we speak right now, there is one or more precious children in our state living in a flop house, in a tent. Hard drug abuse, sexual violence, malnutrition. I passed my first bill on this House floor about Carry-On Franks, who was seen multiple times by CPS and Department of Children, Youth, and Families, even though he was extremely malnutritioned and beaten by his parents until he died. Baby Otis, Raleigh and Kennewick, Oakley Carlson, the baby in Whatcom County. Sometimes these babies don't even have names. And when you look at the fatality report, Madam Speaker, it's just a black line. Another government statistic. These were lives taken by our laws, Madam Speaker, because the social workers are begging, please do something about this. If there's still fentanyl in the home, it is a danger, and it's against the law. And we want to say provide a lockbox in that parent's home so that after they've abused their fentanyl, hopefully, just maybe, they will remember to lock the fentanyl up in a lockbox after they're done crapping their pants and overdosing and urinating on themselves and puking on the floor, where they then drop their fentanyl or their deadly drugs for their babies and toddlers to get into. And when we Narcan a toddler in our streets, like I had to watch multiple times just this last summer on King 5, we don't even consider that a near fatality. Are you kidding me? That's nuts.
A couple of Democrats who rose in opposition to the amendments. One of them was Representative Steve Bergquist of Renton, and he basically said, we're not ignoring this issue. We're trying to balance this out. We're trying to make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep families together. He said, I promise we're going to have a robust, that was his word, robust discussion in the interim to work even harder on this issue. But, Republicans pushed back and said, we don't have time to wait another year to go by to lose more children. As I mentioned, 7 Democrats who voted yes on the amendment. I want to read their names off to you just so you have an idea of who these members were that voted along with the minority and saying, we've got a real problem here. We're losing too many kids and we can't wait another year. Those Democrats who voted in support of the amendment are Representative Mari Levitt, Representative Amy Wallen, Representative Dave Paul, Christine Reeves of Federal Way, Representative Addison Richards, Representative Timmons of Bellingham, Representative Clyde Shavers. But again, those 7 Democrats voting in favor of the amendment were not enough. I should also note there were 3 Republicans who were not there. They were excused for the day. They would have obviously voted in support of the amendment. Still would have likely fallen short, except for had there been one more Democrat to cross over. So very close, ultimately fell those 5 votes short of passing the amendment. When I saw representatives in a House Appropriations Committee this morning, several of them still very upset about how everything went in the House floor. So going to be writing up an article and posting that on our Center Square Washington page today with a lot more of some of that emotional testimony to be shared.